because I originally, like, you know, this idea of like back to the farm to fork thing and
Hmm.
how great of a pull factor is consumer behavior and consumer trends.
Hmm.
And so if we provide visibility to the consumer, will that change consumer behavior? And what we found was no, it will not.
It will not.
No, your consumers, you see, you're not paying your consumer to provide oversight. So
Okay.
providing, let's say, insight into the temperature, the nitrogen content of the grass in a field, and the temperature in the fridge, the refrigerated truck where the milk was transported. There are two things that we did. And we provided this for a product set in a shop, which was like a zero waste place. So it's like where consumers cared. We we ran a trial for a week and let consumers test. They just scanned a QR code on their own phone and it could go to a website. And I'm telling you now, we could barely keep them in the conversation, let alone, uh, you know, I eventually just stopped asking them to do it on their own phone and did it on my phone. And they're like, yeah, that's cool. Nobody wants to know the nitrogen content. The consumer doesn't want to know.
Yeah. Hmm.
They don't know. Consumers, the food supply chain is a black box. And it's challenging for the consumer, even an informed vegan consumer, to come up against real visibility because it's a massive context shift.
Hmm.
They don't know where their food comes from. It just kind of shows up in the fridge or on
Yeah.
the table and they eat it.
Yeah.
They just want to trust that somebody else is doing it. They don't want to take the role. And, you know, in the early days, let's say 2015, 2016, 2017, it's like blockchain's going to change somewhere else. And everybody's like, oh, you're able to see where your food comes from or your diamonds come from or your, you know, what our shoes come from. Absolutely anything that you want.
Yeah.
People were saying we could do it. And offering mobile apps to consumers to say, look, we can show you this little story. The
Hmm.
consumer does not care enough, doesn't care enough.
Yeah. Now that you say it, it kind of makes sense. And I do have a feeling that a lot of people, even if they could have the information on their fingertips, they wouldn't do it.
They do it once, Borna. They do it once. Oh, wow, that's really cool.
And
It's
then
like
never
the
again.
China thing, like looking at the video of the cows, like in
Yeah.
the shed. Oh, wow, that there it is. I'm going to eat that next week. You know, like, but I would be surprised, and I'm open to being surprised, but I would be surprised if that consumer checks it every time they go in there.
Mm. No, probably not.
Unless there's another push factor, like food safety.
Hmm.
And in China, for example, amongst any other number of jurisdictions, um, food safety is of greater concern than we typically have it here. I'm not saying in Europe, and when I say here, I mean Europe, but in Europe, um, we are not as prone to the same degree of food safety
Hmm.
hazards that are quite prevalent in other jurisdictions where
But as
we
you said
are.
earlier, Europe feels a lot safer. I generally have a feeling that even though if I buy it in a supermarket without checking, that it won't be too bad, you know, that it's not too scammy, that it went through some kind of trust and check process that's regulated by the government and the European Union to keep the
Yeah.
food as good as possible, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's really highly regulated, which is laughed at in Asia and the US.
Mm,
But we
yeah.
do not have the same degree of food safety issues that they
Mm,
do in other jurisdictions,
yeah.
for
Um,
which I am grateful. Raising my two little healthy children, touch wood.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see the full version, go to the Uncle Gold Podcast YouTube channel or watch the next clip.